Did you know that there was an ancient Egyptian queen who had a male lover, and not just any male lover, but a commoner? Oh no, this is not a made-up story from the Crown. This actually happened in real life. Her name was Nefirtary, and she was the last queen of the 6th dynasty of Egypt. She ruled from 2280 to 2250 BC. During her reign, she held the title of hereditary princess, great of praises, main king's wife, and his beloved. Her tomb was discovered by archaeologists in 1907, and it contained the sarcophagus of a woman and 2 men. One of the men was identified as her son and the other as her husband, but they weren't the only 2 men in her life. Queen Nefirtary was known for her many lovers, and her tomb was also found with the remains of at least 8 men, some of whom were high officials and others were just commoners. Despite her scandalous personal life, Queen Nefirtary was also known for her intelligence and her contributions to the ancient Egyptian civilization. She built temples, she commissioned the construction of pyramids, and she also engaged in trade with other civilizations. However, her legacy has been overshadowed by her reputation as a woman of easy virtue, which was likely the result of a biased and patriarchal history. In fact, there is evidence that the ancient Egyptians were much more accepting of women's sexual freedom than we were. In today's society, they had female pharaohs like Hatshepsut and Cleopatra, and they also had female officials and priestesses who were highly respected in their communities. Unfortunately, Queen Nefertari's story has been distorted over time, and she has been remembered as a sex-obsessed queen instead of the powerful ruler that she was. It is important to note that most of the information we have about her comes from a single ancient Egyptian source, and that source is biased against her. The author of this source lived 1,000 years after Queen Nefertary's death, and he wrote a history of Egypt that was intended to be a manual for pharaohs on how to behave. He portrayed Queen Nefertary as a negative example of a woman who engaged in sexual activity for pleasure rather than for the purpose of procreation. We don't know exactly when she died, but it was sometime during the 22nd century BC. What we do know is that she was buried in the royal cemetery of Asiyut with all of her favorite possessions, including her chariots and her musical instruments. Archaeologists also found a large collection of cosmetics in her tomb, which suggests that even in death, she was still concerned with her appearance. So next time you're watching The Crown, remember that the scandalous love life depicted there is not just a work of fiction. It's actually based on the real-life story of Queen Nefertary, the ancient Egyptian queen who had a thing for commoners.